care if you paid. Get out.
I'm not
That's
leaving,
how that
bro.
works.
I paid. I'm not leaving.
No.
I'm not
if
leaving.
you cause a ruckus in the classroom,
I'm not leaving.
Everyone loves to talk about themselves.
Loves
And you know what they love even more? When someone's listening to them talk about themselves.
100%.
Oh, you're going to make some girl so happy one day.
Yeah,
you're such
bro.
a great
And
guy.
You know what's Yo, bro, they'll tell him that. They'll tell him that. Yo, you're such a great guy. You're one of the good ones.
You're one of the good ones.
But
yeah.
you ain't trying to.
Yeah.
You ain't trying to.
You ain't trying to slide in.
What's good, y'all? Welcome back to the NOA Podcast. Being as your co-host, Tyler. I'm here with my man, Trey.
You.
Once again, thank you guys for watching. We appreciate all the support you continue to show us. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe on this video. You can find us on Instagram at NOA_podcast. You can find us on Apple Podcasts as well as Spotify. Just make sure you type in NOA Podcast and we pop right up. You can find us on TikTok as well. That's going to be NOA Podcast 1 and NOA Podcast 2. Also, please make sure to check out NOA Adventures, which is the vlog page. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's get into it. Trey, what we got on the docket today, man?
All right. So for today, question is, does your self-image have an influence on your success? Now, in my personal opinion, I believe image is key. How you present yourself to the world is how people are going to treat you. So to answer this question for me personally, I think it's yes. I don't know what you think.
I agree. I also looked up self-image to get like a
Like an idea.
like a definition.
Yeah.
So what I hope I still have it up. I do. Because I really wanted to like kind of think about this. So self-image is the mental picture you have of yourself, which includes your appearance, personalities, and capabilities. So now I kind of started to think about, so it's kind of like almost what you think of yourself in a way and how that impacts success. I think it's important. I don't think it's everything. But I do think it's very important. And I do think majority of people who are successful have a relatively positive self-image of themselves. But I do know people who also are like cocky and have a very high self-image of themselves, and like they don't do anything. So that's why I think like, yeah, it plays a role, but you also have to like do your own work per se. Because you could just be like very confident and very cocky, but like if you don't do anything or like if you don't produce results, then it doesn't really matter what you think of yourself.
That is true. Because at the end of the day, it's the success that can even, if you're even talking smack or anything like that. Like,
you got to back it up.
Yeah,
you got to show results.
Like if you're saying certain things or doing certain things and you're actually not showing the results, it kind of makes you look stupid because you're just kind of like, I'm talking all this smack and I'm not that good.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? It's like I say I'm the best in the game, but I'm not really the best in the game.
Yeah.
When like game time comes and like
when the game's on the line, are you making a play?
I'm not playing.
Game's on the line.
I'm not playing correctly.
Yeah, facts.
I
Game
think
on the line, like you're benched. That's awkward.
I think having a good self-image just for your own even mindset is like a good first step, at least in becoming more positive. You know, how you present yourself and how you kind of see yourself. You know, it really does kind of play with your mind. If you see yourself as just like a really just ugly, down-patting person, you're constantly like being down on yourself, after a while you're gonna believe those things. That's why they say give yourself positive affirmations. If you wouldn't say something to someone, why would you say it to yourself?
That's fair. Have you ever experienced that throughout your life? Like you just having like a low self-image of yourself or a negative self-image of yourself, I should say?
Well, I've never had like a physical, like more along the lines of like I don't like my looks. I've always
Is it more like mental?
Yeah, so just kind of like how my mentality is. Like I need to change this. I need to start doing this. I need to start doing this. A lot of it has to do with just growing up. So trying to game less, trying to focus more on things that are actually going to be towards kind of like my future.
And that
like
kind of helps shape your self-image. 'Cause I was actually going to ask, like, how did you get out of that?
Yeah, I mean, if you take, for instance, I didn't used to wear suits before, especially going to school or going to work. Or
it was just regular.
It was just regular T-shirt,
Regular
jeans.
attire.
Like I would not be wearing, you'd not catch me in a suit. But now that's part of at least who I've become. That's just a part of what I do. I think it's more professional for us to like put our best foot forward, in my opinion, at least for me personally. My best foot forward is me dressing up and feeling professional. This is how I feel professional. This is how I guess my self-image for myself helps. This is what I do.
For those out there who might be struggling with like having a negative self-image of themselves, do you think you could give them like maybe any tips on how to kind of like change that so they could start like viewing themselves more positively?
Go to the gym. I'd say that helps.
Facts.
When you look good, you feel good. They say
Right.
that.
Look good, feel good, play good, pay good, pay good, live good, die good. That's what it is.
Yeah, simply
What it
put.
is.
Simply put. But I believe going to the gym puts you in a good mentality. Learning to just not be so hard on yourself. We're human beings.
That's fair.
I understand there are people out there who are just gonna be like perfectionists and like you wanna be able to be like really good at what you're doing. But sometimes it takes trial and error to be perfect. So just try not to be too hard on yourself. And also remember, if you wouldn't allow someone to talk to you in a certain way, don't think.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's just kind of like, you shouldn't treat yourself. You should treat yourself better than anybody else treats you. Because you're yourself, you should love yourself the most. And I know that's hard for a lot of people, but listen, I can't teach you to love yourself. You got to love yourself. I'm sorry. I ain't that advanced. I'm only 25. I'm still learning as I'm going along, too.
Homie said, I'm still acquiring badges.
Yeah, facts. Literally. But honestly, if you want to do that, it's a daily process. You gotta like keep it going each day. It's not a 1 week thing, 1 month thing. You continue to work on it, and over time, you get better. In my opinion. Do you have a different thought process on it, or do you have the same advice?
I agree. I think going to the gym helps, but I think the reason why going to the gym helps, and you could kind of take like going to the gym and apply it to like other facets, is like finding something that like you can be consistent with on a daily basis and hold yourself accountable.
Also keeps you busy.
It keeps you busy, but I think it also like builds confidence. Like if you keep on going to the gym every single day and you're consistent with it, it kind of builds a sense of confidence in the terms of you told yourself you're going to go do something and then you did it. But then you keep on doing it. So it's like every single time I tell myself I'm going to do something, you do it. And then all of a sudden you start kind of like building that trust with yourself. Yep. But that can go with anything. That's not just the gym, even though you should go to the gym.
That would go with
but it's just like...
just working towards something. Constantly getting up, going to school. Constantly getting up, actually doing your homework. Constantly getting up, going to work.
Exactly.
Constantly getting up, working on whatever project that you want to work on.
Yeah. So I think that definitely helps in terms of self-image. I do think the gym helps in terms of the physical. Yes. I think also what might help with self-image is like, you got to kind of work on your mental.
And I would say your personality, but this kind of goes into the full circle thing. Being able to talk and be social with people.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that plays a part into it as well.
Yeah, I think that helps. Also, at least for me, someone who's like, I'm still introverted, but someone who's much more introverted, you also realize like people like you more than you think they do. Like going and talking to people, like you kind of realize like, oh, okay, like I'm actually likable. Like people actually like come and like they talk to me and they would actually converse with me and I might say a joke and they laugh and like we have a good time. So it's like showing that also helps, at least with me personally, with my self-image as well, because it just shows like, oh, okay, like you're likable. Like other people like you or like can stand you. And I'm not talking about also like just like little things like talking to people like maybe in passing, but like notice the people that you constantly talk to on a daily and see how they react.
Yeah, actually like holding a conversation.
Yeah, like when I pull up, it's like this person like smiling and greeting me, or like do they kind of have a blank face like they could care less?
Frankly, do they start the conversation first sometimes?
Exactly.
Or is it just you? You get to pick up on certain things.
Yeah, but I think being social definitely helps in terms of like your self-image. But a lot of it too is just mental. Trey kind of mentioned it too. You can't be too hard on yourself. It's good to be hard on yourself, but you gotta understand too, like you're young. Especially
I was just about to say, especially if you're young, you might not have the knowledge.
Exactly. Like I'm 24, Trey's 24. We're both really trying to figure this whole life thing out. I know majority of our audience falls into that age, so it's like you gotta understand you're young, and a lot of times like you have really big ambitions. Yeah. And you want to like be successful now and like be great now, which is cool. But like you also gotta understand. Some things takes time. Like it ain't just gonna come right now.
Because you gotta be wise to have certain things.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't just get that off willy nilly, because you'll either blow the blessing before you fully understand what it is, or you just won't even get the opportunity because you won't know what roads to take.
Yeah, exactly.
At least that's what I think.
But I think it plays a huge role. Self-image, I think, is very, very important for success. It's not everything, of course, but
yeah, it takes because self-image and no work is just like,
exactly.
What do you?
But you gotta at least kind of think of yourself positively to a certain extent. Because if you just think of yourself negatively, then you're probably just gonna beat yourself up way too much.
Let me ask you this question. So I know your personal self-image matters. Do you think the image of the people around you matters too in your success?
To a certain extent.
Okay, go into that.
I think your overall reputation matter. So in terms of that, it kind of does. Other people's image of you kind of does matter in terms of like reputation. So like if you have a very negative reputation, people know that they're probably going to treat you differently. compared to if you have a positive reputation.
What about if you have a positive reputation, but the people associated with you have a negative reputation? So like you usually are a really good guy, but me, I'm the bad one, and frankly, people don't really think good of me. Over time, ain't that going?
Over time, it's gonna rub off on me because they're gonna see you and see who I'm hanging out with, and they're automatically gonna assume like, you know what I mean?
You're doing the same thing.
And exactly, and it also goes like the saying as
you are the 5 people you hang out with.
Yeah, what is it? Birds of a feather flock
together. That too.
So it's like kind of like those like old cliche sayings, even though they're cliche, they do still have a point, and people are gonna
birds of a feather flock.
Kind of like guilty by association. If you're doing a crime, but I'm not, but I'm with you, the police pull up, they're arresting both of them.
Yeah,
not just arresting you.
Yeah,
I'm just like a guilty by association. Just because I'm here, I'm getting arrested.
Just by you being
even if I was just watching.
Yeah, not participating. You didn't do anything just because you know me. Yeah, that'd be what.
So I think in terms of reputation, it's important, but in terms of like, I guess like if other people's image of you is forcing you to not be yourself and like do things that clearly aren't you, and you're doing it just to please the other people, then no, their image of you doesn't really matter.
Mm-hmm.
So like for instance, like obviously like I'll use this podcast as an example. We've got some like pretty nasty comments at times. Like people have called us some like unfortunate things, and it'd be like that. But like we don't really care. Why? Because we're like, listen, like you're not gonna pay my bills. What you think really don't matter. So we got to keep on going
also,
and keep on.
The assumptions just aren't true.
Exactly. Like a lot of what people say too is just like false. So I'm like, yo, like you don't even know me. Like you saw a clip of me probably acting a fool and then just assume.
People just swear it's the only.
I'm just an idiot. Yeah,
the only thing you do, bro. Like, go get a real job.
Exactly. Go get a real job. Facts. But it's like, all right. So in terms of that, I don't care. Why? Because I'm not just gonna stop something just because you don't like me. But like our reputation isn't horrible. So like if we had a really bad reputation, I would care then because now my reputation carries weight and that kind of follows me wherever we go.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So like
you can lose opportunities because
exactly. But like our reputation based off how we portrayed ourselves, I don't think it's bad. You guys could let us know. Maybe it's horrible, but like so far, I don't think it's bad. So in that case, like okay, it's fine. But like my reputation is kind of like what I care about.
That's
in terms of what other people say, like little side things. I don't care because you could.
Well, yeah. I figured you wouldn't care if other people say side things, but more along the lines of if you were close friends with somebody and everyone has a bad opinion of that person.
Or will I stop being friends with them?
Yeah, I guess you could even say, would you?
It depends.
I would say so. It also depends. It depends on what they're doing. Like if they're doing like some really outlandish stuff, I might have to pull away.
Yeah, it also it depends like who you are, like how close we are. Like, I'm more likely to try to stick it out with you. Why? Because I've known you for so long. We're very, very close.
Fair.
So, like...
Compared to someone else that you might meet
so, like,
maybe
if
about a couple months.
you were on some, like, you know, if you were associated with some bad things, I wouldn't just be like, nah, I ain't messing with Trey now. I'd be like, yo, Trey's still the Brody. Like, that's still the homie. Mm-hmm. Now, I might talk to you if you're really bugging. I'd be like, all right, you're like...
Yeah, come on.
Like, what we doing?
But everything has its limit, of course.
Yeah. I would say so. But like if it was someone who I just met or I wasn't really that close with, then I'd be
you
like...
You just distance yourself?
Yeah, I'll leave.
Fair enough. I understand that, frankly. I think most people would do the same thing.
Yeah,
that's just normal at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's also hard too. Like if you really rock with someone, you really mess
because
with
they've been there for, depending on what the situation might be, they've been there for you through some really hard times, some really good times. Like they know certain sides of you that, and though they might have done something bad, they still share good memories with you. So it's kind of tough.
That's what makes it hard. Is you might have did something bad, but damn, I remember when you did this for me.
Like I know the other side of you. Like I know you have good sides.
Or it's like, you did something bad, but like to me, you're nice.
Yeah.
To other people, you might be a.
But other people, you might.
But like to me, you treat me nice.
Treat me good.
Like,
yeah.
If I look at your resume, I'm like, well, he was good to me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I've had that with professors at times. I've like conversations with other students.
Yeah, some people be like, yo, I hate that person.
Facts.
I was like, yo, I got
they were cool. They were cool with me. I had no problem with them. You know, we were cool with it. We were cool with it. Yeah. Do you want to go into the girlfriend application question?
Sure. I thought we had something else on the document.
Did we? What else do we have? Why do women talk so much about a particular problem, but they won't just come up with the solution? So I've had this particular problem with like girlfriends of mine, exes of mine, even like female family members where like they'll come with a particular situation, they'll talk about it, go over it constantly, go over different analogies, different ways of trying to handle it. But when it comes time to actually putting a solution onto it, That's not what they want. It doesn't seem like they want you to solve that. And as a man, it's kind of backwards to how I personally work.
I mean, yeah.
Because if I'm talking about something, I want to find a solution to it and then fix
like that's
that
the whole point
problem.
Of me bringing this up.
Not just be emotional and talk about it the entire time. I don't know. What do you think? Have you gone through this before?
Yeah, I've gone through it a lot. I mean, one, I do think some of it just like females are emotional creatures.
Fair.
You know, and it happens a lot with women, but it's not just women. Because I've come across men who have done this as well. But I have come across it a lot with women. Me personally, what I believe is just a lot of people kind of enjoy like being the victim in a way. Like they kind of get a rush of telling you their problems.
I think that's
without necessarily, like without necessarily having a fix.
Yeah.
Like I notice a lot of times, you know, it's crazy. Shout out to Gracie. But I remember something similar happened to you. Me and you were at her house, and she was going to explain something. And right before she explained it, you said, "Hey, are you looking for advice, or are you just looking to vent?"
Yeah,
I remember. She was like, "I'm just looking to vent." And you were like, "Cool, so I know how to
exactly." Yep.
But I think a decent amount of people really just want someone to vent to.
Yeah, someone to
not
vent to. Not
necessarily like, "Yo, fix my problem,"
solve it. Yeah,
but just someone to vent to.
Yeah,
and
just want to talk about
it happens a lot with women, but I've also come across men who are the same thing.
Just want someone to talk to.
Yeah, or because there are many times where they'll complain to me. I'll tell them how to fix their problem. Then a couple of days later, they complain to me again about the same thing they just complained to me.
Yep.
So at that point,
go over the same scenarios, the same thing.
It's like, why am I still going through this?
Why are we still having this conversation?
Yeah.
I talked to you about this yesterday.
I talked to you facts. I gave you did you try the solution? Did you try the answer I told you? Nah.
So why are we talking about this?
But a lot of
go try it and come back.
Go try. Go right now. But I think a lot of it too is just people are like just being a victim. People, as they say, misery likes company, and I do think there are a decent amount of lonely people out there who ain't got no one to really talk to, so they kind of vent to you. They open up. They don't necessarily want you to fix the problem. They just want you to hear them. You
know, I do agree with you, man. I think people do want to be the victim. I think our generation is real bad with that these days. Everybody, both men and women, want to be victims. For sure. It's terrible. I think it can turn into a sickness because you can do it so much to where you actually believe you are, to where you're like being mean to people, but you still think in some way, shape, or form you're the victim. It can get out of hand, and I feel like having that mindset of being a victim it limits you so much in my eyes from just being so successful. Like I don't want to feel like someone's my oppressor. Like listen, I make my own. Yeah. I make my own fate. Yeah. You know, like no one is gonna be in charge of that, and I'm not gonna be. Okay, maybe someone was mean to me for a couple hours throughout the day, but I'm not going to let that stop me from being the man that I want to be.
I think it's also an excuse, though.
That too, yeah. Yeah, that too. Maybe it's an excuse for people who don't want to be successful, don't know how to achieve success, so they just choose to blame it on someone else.
I personally think it's an excuse to not change.
To stay the same.
Yeah. So it's like, Look at how bad look at what this person
So it's
is
someone
doing.
else's fault.
Look, exactly. So they don't take the blame. Look at what this person's doing to me. Look, they're oppressing me. They're hurting me. I'm the victim. Look at my scenario. This is what's happening. This is the reason why it's happening. And it's their fault. And you can use it as a way to fall back. And you don't feel as bad. Why? Because it's not your fault. You can't look in the mirror and be like, oh, well, I failed. I'm the reason why I'm not successful. I'm the reason why this relationship ain't working, this, that. You could kind of look in the mirror and be like, well, I'm doing great. But because of this is why I can't get to the next level. Because of this is why I can't get to the next level. You basically just deferring the responsibility onto someone else or something else, and then you don't feel as bad for yourself.
I'll say this. You can only do that for so long because reality does catch up. And
yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, you have to face the piper.
Yeah, but I think there's some people who, I think you say you can only do it but so long, but I feel like there's a lot of older people who do it as well. I think you could do it for as long as you want.
Yeah, I guess you can.
You can do it for as long as you want, but you just can't expect things to change.
No, you have to be content with the kind of.
You got to be content with the certain life you have. And which, if you are, cool. If you are, that's cool. Yeah. But if you did really want,
for at least the ones who want to make change, they gonna have to make the change. Yeah. In order to have anything, kind of progress for you.
It's like the saying goes: nothing changes if nothing changes.
That's true. That's true.
That's the only way things are going to change. You have to change in order for change to actually happen.
Actually make that take place.
Exactly. And if that never happens, then you're going to have to get stuck with living the life you live. But a lot of people are fine with the life they live. Fair. Some people are okay deferring their responsibility. Fair. because you could do whatever you want. This is your life.
Yeah.
Not saying that is right, but fair enough. God gave us all free will.
Frankly, what you brought up earlier, and it's a statement that I guess I kind of forgot a little bit, and I think it's important. If anyone kind of comes to you with, I guess, a problem or anything like that, to just ask them whether or not they want someone.
You know what's crazy?
Or someone to actually solve their problem, and frankly, you would essentially eliminate a lot of that.
Yeah.
Wherever you were wondering whether or not 100%. I need your help or just listen to this person, if you just did that.
And I thought it was a great thing you did. In the moment when you said that, I was like, dang, that's a bar, bro. Yeah, that's fire, bro. I'm going to let you know what I do. Depending on who you are, I'll give advice. There are still many times now where I'll give advice to someone who I might have just met if they're venting to me, or like if, we're not that close. But I do watch what they do. So like, someone comes to me and vents to me, I tell them how to fix it. Now, if within the next couple of days, next week, whenever I see them, if they still talking to me about it, then I just stop giving them advice.
Yeah, you just listen to them.
Yeah. I realize, like, oh, you're not going to change? Oh, okay, so I'm going to stop giving advice. I'm just going to listen. Yeah. I might give my opinions here and there, but, like, I won't give, like,
I won't outwardly actually try to come up with something to help you out.
Yeah. Or some people I come across and I just listen to them. I just listen. I'm like, oh, okay, word, no way. Dang, that's messed up. There ain't no way to do. Yo, that's foul. Like, what there's like, it just don't make sense why they would do that to you. Yeah. Like, it just don't add up. Yeah. And I just play that game. Yeah. And then when we're done talking, I just go back to go about my life and just like, yo,
do whatever you gotta do.
Yeah, because a lot of times not everyone's gonna take your advice.
True.
A decent amount of times they just don't. And also too is you're not obligated to give advice. Just because someone vents and opens up to you doesn't mean you're obligated to give advice. Unless they say, hey, can you help me?
If they ask for it, then
I don't really gotta, you know what I'm saying? Nice enough I'm listening.
You're not obligated to listen. You could get up and walk away.
Like, yo,
but listen, man, I have other things to do.
For real, bro. I'm
listen
busy.
To your sob story.
I'm busy.
Get out my face. Get out my face, bro.
You're wasting my time.
I have things to do.
Yeah, for real.
money
I was just about to say that. I'm losing money talking to you,
money
yo.
Needs to be made.
Get out my face, shawty.
So, yeah. I guess that's what's popping off these days, man.
That's fair. All right, that's pretty much it. Yeah. It's a little bit of a shorter one today.
Yeah, for real.
Typically around this time we give advice. So Trey, you have any advice you'd like to give to the people?
I'm frankly just going to say what I said earlier, man. If someone is coming to you, ask them whether or not you want advice or whether or not you need someone to listen to. It solves you a lot of problems, and frankly, you'll be better off for it. So saves
you time.
Yeah.
As well. That's good advice. I'll say kind of retouch on what we talked about earlier. Really just work on your self-image. True. Like I said, I do think self-image does play a role in success. Continue to go to the gym. Make whatever you tell yourself, just keep those promises. So whether it's the gym, whether it's I'm going to read X amount of books a day, whether it's I'm going to go talk to so-and-so today, whatever it is, tell yourself and then do it.
Yo, Lizzo's losing weight. If Lizzo can lose weight, y'all could too.
Facts. Which
is crazy to see,
Lizzo's
right?
losing weight. There's no...
Exactly.
Yeah.
No reason not to, boys.
Yeah, for real. But keep the promises you tell yourself, and that's going to help with your self-image a lot, because eventually you're just going to start trusting yourself more and more.
Yep.
And you'll start viewing yourself in a different light, for sure.
Your confidence will go up.
On gang. So... that'll be my advice. Once again, thank you guys for listening. We appreciate you guys for tuning in, spending this time with us. We really do appreciate it, all the support you guys show. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the page. You can find us on Spotify and on Apple Music. Just search up NOA Podcast. You can also find us on Instagram. That's going to be NOA_podcast. You can find us on TikTok at NOA Podcast 1. And on NOA Podcast 2. Also, please make sure to check out our vlog channel. That's going to be NOA Adventures. We got some new stuff coming out for that, so please stay tuned. Once again, thank y'all for listening. We appreciate y'all. Y'all take care.
Have a good one.